Hello and welcome back to the Miss Rolling podcast. My name is Jacob Staten, and as per normal usual, I'm joined by JJ Armstrong. JJ, how are you?
Doing very good, thank you, Jacob. This is the second time we've tried this. This is how out of practice we are. It's been a while. As I said in our previous attempt, our last episode was 4 months ago, which was the Man United win. Which again, I know you say, which one? The first one. So it's been a while, and our one before that was 7 months. So look, a lot's gone on. We can only apologise for our absence. We've had personal stuff going on, but we're back. Forest are back. Forest are about to be back to the promised land. What a season it's been. We've covered none of the good stuff, but we're here for the run-in. How are you, Jacob?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. Thank you. Very, very well. I feel like there's probably not been that much to discuss, has there really? Because it's been the best season since sliced bread.
Does that mean that might mean there's loads to discuss though? Or every episode would just be, it's just good, innit? It's just good.
Just me and you AI'd into the Fonz banging on a record player that starts playing Is This the Way to Barcelona?
Exactly. Whatever that means, exactly that.
Oh, Christ. Right. JJ, before we talk about Tottenham, a brief background. Obviously, the race for Champions League has heated up. Heated up?
It's heated.
Heated up with 2 losses in a row, away to Villa, 2-1.
As we speak, City have just scored in the 94th minute to go 2-1 up as well. So
late drama.
Continues to heat up.
Who, but 17 minutes ago, JJ branded as the worst footballer he's ever seen.
Yeah, shows how much I know. Sorry, Jacob, carry on. Set it up.
Set it up for headed up. And then obviously losing 1-0 at home to Villa, which unfortunately I was on holiday and had no access to. Actually, I was on the East Coast, which has less data signal than you would if you were on the East Coast of Spain for some reason. So I couldn't watch it. But I'm reliably informed that it was probably the worst performance of the season and that losing in the last minute was not a surprise.
Yeah, before anyone shouts at the screen, Jacob meant 1-0 at home to Everton, not Villa. I'm sure that'll upset a few people. His mind slipped.
I said Villa first and then Everton, didn't I?
I don't know. I'm sure he said Villa, but either way. I think, I'll be honest, I think I was wavering a little bit before this game. I think we really needed last night to just reset a bit, because I think going last, I know technically there's a few more games tonight, but they're games above us now. But going last out of the teams fighting for the Champions League made it feel a lot worse, because a few weeks ago we felt quite comfortable in third. There was quite a nice gap. And then all of a sudden, like that, a few not great results. We had a great performance against Villa, and Villa are flying. I know they've just conceded, but that was a difficult one. I think we should have got something from that. And then, like you say, Everton was one of the worst performances I think I've seen from us this season. So it felt like possibly we've hit the stumbling block at the wrong time. So going from third to sixth, my confidence was wavering a bit. And you sort of forget that one win just shoots you back up to third and everything feels all right again. But yeah, before this game, I was very, very nervous that I was going to say, if anyone can bottle it, it's Forest, but bottle what? Like, it's that conflict of interest, isn't it? That you've got to remind yourself that this isn't normal. We shouldn't be worried about bottling this because we shouldn't be here anyway. So, yeah. But we are here on merit. It's a very difficult thing to contend with. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I would say if anyone could read our group chat, they would definitely describe your comments as a full head loss going into the game on Monday.
I think I wrote quite a few times, we lost this in January. That's how upset I was, which I still stand by. I think we would have been more comfortable had we invested in January. But, at the time, you can't help but worry and point fingers to where it maybe has gone wrong. And that was it.
Yeah, I mean, in January, it's a great comment about January. I think we needed one player. I think we needed just a player that said we're going to give this a go, if that makes sense. Obviously, Santiago Jimenez that we were in for in the summer went to AC Milan. So he was on the market. Obviously, I'm not suggesting for a second he would have picked us over AC Milan, but that kind of signing would have I don't know. I tip the scales, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's all perception, but I suppose there's also to comment to say it's worthwhile keeping the squad together and not interrupting it, not breaking up the,
I mean, Nuno likes a small squad, so makes sense. But obviously, we've got to contend with an Aina injury. Chris Wood was injured. You've got the Cup coming up this weekend, which we'll discuss later, and you've got Williams and Yates suspended. It just felt like key ingredients were sort of not there at the right time. But listen, we'll go on to discuss it again. We're third, so it's all good.
It's all gravy. Absolutely all gravy. I mean, I think it's worth mentioning as well that Villa and Newcastle are in exceptional form, and Newcastle, apart from the fact that they lost to Villa on Saturday night.
It was this weekend, I could tell you that.
It's this weekend for sure. That was a great performance by Villa, although Villa have just lost to Man City. So I think that's not a game in hand either, is it, for City and Villa? That's an extra game they've played now.
Yeah, they've now played 34 games, so it puts City on 61 points, 1 point above us on 34 games. They're 33 games played, 60 points. Villa are 34 games in 7th on 57 points. So it does keep Villa at arm's length with 1 game, and we've got a better goal difference, surprisingly.
Yeah, and our game in hand on that and the rest of the league is Brentford a week on Thursday, isn't it? 1st of May. We're playing with next Monday. The next one is the Monday, next bank holiday Monday night as well. Same as the Spurs game.
Yeah,
it's Crystal Palace.
I think we've got Brentford, Palace, Leicester, West Ham, and Chelsea. So an interesting run-in.
I would just see if we were to get to the final. Obviously, we'll discuss that later on. But where they moved that West Ham game to, they move it early. Very interesting. I don't see where they could put it. Have to go midweek, wouldn't it?
But anyway, before the Spurs game, my confidence was taking a bit of a hit, which leads us to, before the game started, starting 11, which I'll be honest, only wobbled me further. How did you feel about it, Jacob?
So Toffolo I didn't get until you good self informed me as to perceivably how bad Moreno was on Saturday against Everton. Yeah. So I suppose I personally maybe wouldn't have made the change in such an important game, but I'll defer to Nuno. I'm surprised that like Yates this screamed the Yates game to me. But obviously I think Nuno likes his Portuguese speaking players, doesn't he? He's clearly a huge Danilo fan. Good reason. Very narrow. Obviously without Callum Hudson-Odoi playing, he's been on the bench, but I not too many concerns by the start 11. I wouldn't say weak. I'd say probably odd. The best way to describe it.
Yeah, I think odd's right. I think Toffolo for me is one that didn't make much sense. I think as a Champions League chasing side, having Harry Toffolo at left back, and that's not to discredit. I mean, I think he's a fantastic professional. He's a great player. On his day for a lower Premier League side, I think he's spot on. For a Champions League chasing side in an important game, obviously Spurs haven't been great, but they are capable. They have got the players of doing some good stuff. I think we've moved on a level from Harry Toffolo being a starter in that. But Moreno has not been great recently, so it does make sense. And Toffolo proves you give him the chance, he takes it. He's a great professional. I always love how well he speaks. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And he just, whether or not for Forest, he's a captain type of player, a real leader. So he proves, he's one of those players that happily proves people wrong, like myself. I'd have liked to have seen Yates, as in people like me wrong, not that I prove people wrong. I'd have liked to see Yates in from the start. And if Hudson-Odoi could play, I'd have liked to have seen our sort of front free from the start. But who am I? I trust Nuno at this point. I think he's got more than enough credit in the bank. He does try these things, and quite often they work. We grab a few goals on the counter, soak up all the pressure, bring Morata on, and that's it. Thanks for the 3 points. See you later. And it's not always pretty, but when you have to do it, he makes the changes and makes it happen. So, I think a combination of going down the table and having a slightly different 11 to what I'd have chosen, just wavered me at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, match kicks off, JJ, and I'm struggling to think of a better first 15 minutes, if I'm being honest, watching Forest. I believe Anderson's goal comes from a corner. As a corner comes in, nodded out. Anderson takes a nice shot. Does take a lovely deflection off the bottom of, I want to say it's Christian Romero's thigh. And like weirdly, I still think the keeper should have saved it, but like weirdly drops in front of him, doesn't it? Bounce off over his hand, but it's still a nice strike.
Who's the keeper? Is it Vicario?
Yeah.
I think he's a really good keeper. I think for both goals he could have done a lot better. Yep. But Elliot Anderson started that game on absolute flames. He was incredible, and taking a shot outside the box. That's why you've got to do that, because you can't win the prize if you don't play the game. I don't know what the saying is, but that sounds right.
Can't win the prize if you don't buy a ticket, my mate.
Exactly, and he brought the ticket and played the game. He was phenomenal. And then he set up. Was it gibbs-white? He nearly set up for another, and Chris Wood also scored, but it was disallowed. And we'll talk about the second goal. But we were on fire. It was a great clinical 15 minutes and it's what we needed. It really is what we needed to settle the nerves after such a disappointing performance against Everton. Yeah. What followed wasn't needed, but that first 15 minutes to just settle the nerves and be like, right, we might be okay here. And I thought, if anything, Spurs looked so out of sorts that this could be, 4 or 5 with the way they started. So, great start.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we did really well not to lose our heads, or not to kind of put our heads down after the disallowed goal. Clearly offside, nobody's to blame type of thing. And for Chris Wood to score a very similar goal, great crossing by Anthony Elanga. It was fantastic. Great to see him back on the score sheet. He's only 1 goal off 20 league goals this season as well, which is phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. And then to play out the rest of the half, I thought we were extremely comfortable, reminding me very much of the Boxing Day game at home. Just, they can have the ball if you want, but very, 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 very comfortable. We come into half time, 2-0 up. We come out and he takes Anthony Elanga off for Morato. Now, we all know, as red-blooded Nottingham Forest fans, that at some point during this game with a lead, that Nuno Espirito Santo is going to put Morato on. He's going to change to a back 5. It's only a matter of when, not if. But I don't think I or anyone else saw him doing it at half time, especially not for Elanga, who was played pretty decently, getting in behind, and it was kind of a decent threat. He didn't look injured or anything, and he chops and changes.
He was our pace. We took the pace off the pitch. I just thought it was too early myself, because the back end of the first half, we always looked comfortable. We are so resolute defensively now that we can just bat away this nonsense. They didn't look that threatening, but there was still a bit of a worry within me. I didn't feel too comfortable. I certainly didn't feel comfortable enough to make the change to Morato, because as a Nottingham Forest fan, it's ingrained in me to think if they get 1 goal back early doors in the second half, we've taken Elanga off. He's such a big threat. I'd rather have gone for a third and just made it a bit more comfortable and then brought him on, or tried Hudson-Odoi alongside him for a bit and then brought him on. Yeah. But it did surprise me. I really hope there's nothing in it. Like I haven't heard anything about Elanga carrying a knock or anything like that post game. So with an eye on Sunday, I hope that isn't the case. I think potentially, Porro had a ridiculous amount of crosses. I can't remember the stat, but I'm sure someone said it was twice the amount he's had this whole season. So Morato maybe brought in as an extra, aerial defence from the constant crosses, but just didn't feel right to me, and it did concern me a bit. And I think we do concede possession. We don't need the ball. We are 20th in the league for possession statistically, but letting go of it even more to me, didn't feel like the right thing to do. I thought we could maybe have grabbed one more and just really put the game to bed.
Yeah.
But again, as I'll say, who am I to question Nuno?
One thing that was really interesting, I thought, was that they changed both their centre-backs at half-time. So Van der Ven and Romero came off. I know Romero, sometimes he looks great, and sometimes, particularly in this game, he looks like a Sunday league player. Like he just flies out of defence. And I think he got a yellow card before half-time.
He did,
but he really took him out.
He did. To me, Romero feels like a bit of a walking red card, but I did look at it the other day, and he hasn't had that many red cards overall. But
yeah, he's a classic hot-headed South American centre-back, isn't he?
Yeah,
that's the best. I think it's fantastic. So I was very surprised those two were replaced. Very surprised.
Yeah, and I think that made the Elanga change a bit more frustrating, because had Nuno known that the pace of Van der Ven had gone,
I don't think he'd have made those changes. Yeah, for sure.
You get Elanga in behind, and I think it would have been a different story. So a lot of pace taken off the pitch at half time from both sides, which is very interesting. But it wasn't the nicest second half to watch, I'll be honest.
No, I was sat in the pub with some friends and we were playing cards most of the second. Whilst watching, but it's just not that much to talk about other than they had a lot of the ball. They, a lot of pressure. We soaked it up as we always do. I must say, Richarlison's the Pedro Porro cross and the header from Richarlison were both very, very nice. But after that, we just shut up shop again, didn't we?
Yeah, there is an element of we survived it. I think. I don't think we were great. I don't think we needed to be great because they didn't carry too much threat. But, within saying that, they were a Harry Toffolo goal line clearance and a great Matt Sells save away from taking something more from the game. So I think the key thing is that we survived it. We certainly didn't dominate it. But sometimes you have these games of football, and the most important thing is the 3 points and the result. And I think Spurs are such a bizarre side. They had, I don't know, did we have a shot in the second half?
I can't remember. I can't
recall. If we did, it would certainly be few in number. So it was a bit of a painful second half. And again, the Forest is ingrained in me to sit there and be like, especially when that goal went in and it was 2-1. I just thought, no, don't do this to me, Forest. Not now. But this is a different team to what we used to. This isn't Forest of old where we're used to the capitulation and almost expect it. We expect it, and it almost feels better because it hasn't happened again. And we're third in the Premier League with 5 games to go. So it's a really different world that I'll struggle to get used to, but I'm enjoying every second of it when it does happen.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of pressure in the second half. I think I probably downplayed it a little bit earlier on, but the Cell saves fantastic. It's the saves that I would expect our keeper to make. Whilst they were good saves, the Toffolo clearance, absolutely fantastic. Again, though, it's what we do best, isn't it? We defend. It's not, it's not necessarily about having the ball. It's about what we do when we've got it, and we've already done our bit, haven't we? We've already got the 2 goals. If our defence can't make something out of a 2-goal lead away from home, I think that's what Nuno instills in his players, isn't it? It's a little bit like a reverse of the Liverpool game where we smashed and grabbed in the first half and sat back in the second half, and the Liverpool away game was the opposite, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just love now the confidence in our players to just do their job. So Sells does his job perfectly at the minute. He does everything you need him to do, and then often, above and beyond. He's been really good this season. And then the back four, or our standard back four, Toffolo came in and he did a great job, but the confidence for them to just do their job, particularly the centre-back pairing, cross it all day if you want, they're going to deal with it. Get through our lines, Marilla's going to mop it up. They're going to force a player out wide. They just know what they're doing. And then equally, the transition to our players up top who know what they're doing, through the middle, through to the attacker players who know exactly what they need to do, who are outperforming their XG, who are so clinical, who are taking the chances. it's just effective from top to bottom. The whole team is effective, and in this league, it's a really difficult league, as we know. We've been here, this is our third season now. We've struggled. You can point to weak elements of our team in the past and point to areas where we needed to improve, but there's not really that much now. Every player's got their role, every player's got their importance, and it's effective from top to bottom. And, it's really exciting to see where this could go, or we could build upon this. Should we get any European competition, Europa Conference would be incredible at this point. Yeah. And I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, but we're pretty much there for that, aren't we? So any form of European competition has far exceeded anybody's expectations for this season, and we're building an effective team. Next season will be different, obviously, but it's just so refreshing to have a Forest team that you can trust. And Everton was a rare blip. It is frustrating, but you've got to remember the consistency and the effectiveness that's carried us through this entire season so far.
Yeah, I mean, to give context on how well we've done this season, so Liverpool have bought the league, haven't they? Being realistic, they're 19 points ahead of us. So they're on 79, we're on 60. If you went 19 points below us, you'd be on 41. So there isn't one, so you'd get down to Everton in 13th. That's how well we've done this season. That's incredible.
Yeah. And with, obviously, the last few seasons, we're lucky that there have been worse teams. I think this season would have been comfortable for us in fact that there's even, worse teams this season. So relegation-wise, I think we still would have been comfortable, but to push on this much, this quickly, is incredible. And I think just hats off to owner, recruitment, management, because there's so many frustrating elements over recent seasons that I just think we could have done better. But the short-termism that we often criticise him of looks like it's about to pay off. So just phenomenal, really. Yeah,
absolutely. So, JJ, the final whistle goes. Everyone's happy as Larry. We're back into third place until, as of right now, Man City have just beat Villa, so we're back into fourth now. We survived the onslaught, and we go again on Sunday, JJ. What's happening on Sunday?
So, Sunday is an FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City at Wembley, which is exciting. I think I'm of the camp that it being at Wembley takes the shine out of it. I think Jacob disagrees.
I don't disagree. I've already accepted it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. I've just got to enjoy the day, I think, because I'll ask you this now. If you could choose between, you could only win one, it's between winning on Sunday or beating Brentford, what would you choose?
Winning on Sunday.
Lunatic.
Lunatic?
I'd rather beat Brentford and get Champions League.
If West Ham fans can't tell you where they finished last season, but they can tell you exactly where they were when they won the Europa Conference League.
Yeah, but if Forest fans can't tell you about an FA Cup final that they maybe haven't won but could say, I mean, I'd win both if that was the question, but it wasn't. But Champions League is just obscene. 3 points closer towards Champions League, I think I'd take that over a semi-final win. Personally, it'd be interesting if anyone feels. Let us know in the comments below if anyone feels any different.
I think your answer is worse than the term XG.
I don't think that's true. That is the worst term in football. We'll see. I think you'll be surprised. I think there's more people that will agree with me than you'd expect. I don't think it's that clear cut.
Nah.
But
I do agree, though. I do agree. I think the semi-final should not be at Wembley. It should be at a neutral venue somewhere else. I'm glad it's at Wembley because it meant that 36,000 Forest fans at least get a ticket. And there isn't another ground in the country, obviously, where they could facilitate that. The wild idea that a 90,000 seater stadium only gives each team 36,000 tickets is mind-bending to me. But hey ho, I think it'll be a sensational day out. I can only presume it's on so late on us. So I say so late, but 4:30 on a Sunday, because the marathon's also on that day. I think, is that right?
Yeah, I might have a go before the game.
Get your gym shocks on, my mate.
Get the gym shocks on. We're obviously heading down. We've got a minibus for the day. Got a ticket, which I am excited for. I'm excited for the day more than the game. I think I'm trying to go into it with little hope, because it is Man City and they are still very decent. And I think it's one of those where you're just happy to be there, and then it's one of those if you win, incredible. You're there to see Forest get through to a final. It's not like the playoff final, is it? That was, at that point, that felt like it was everything to us. Whereas this just feels like it's something. And if we do lose, I've got another prize to chase in Champions League football. So, and that's not to say that I'm not excited, that I'm not looking forward to it. I'm just trying to temper my expectations and enjoy the day, just enjoy being there. And I think it's almost better that way, that it's a little bit of a free hit.
Yeah, a free hit is absolutely right. I think getting to the semi-final in and of itself is the achievement, isn't it? Getting to the final doesn't bear thinking about. I will have logistical issues if we get to the final. I
won't. I won't be having a kid that's born the day before, so it's fine.
Yeah. So this final Saturday the 17th. My birthday is Sunday the 18th, and my wife is pregnant and is due on the 21st.
That's plenty of time. There's plenty of time.
Plenty of time. There are historical issues as well, aren't there, JJ?
I don't know what that means, but yes.
Well, what day was I born on, JJ?
Oh, yeah, there is this. Anyone that's listened to podcasts before, you'll have heard the story of Jacob's story of when he was born. He was born on the FA Cup final day, Spurs v Forest. His dad had the ticket to the final in one hand and him in the other, and I'm bored of airing it, and I cannot, for the life of me, I can't listen to the next generation of that story. And him going, it's like fate, isn't it? I can't do it. I just can't do it.
My dad's very excited at the idea that I'm going to miss out like he did.
You know what? I get it. I respect him for that. So he should as well. So he should. I'm sure he's never let you forget it. And you've never let me forget it, because it's all you talk about.
It's a story, mate.
So it's a good story. It's a good story the first time you hear it. But I can't, honestly, I can't pretend I can listen to the next generation of it.
Right. Okay. Score prediction,
I've got a question.
JJ. Okay, go on.
No, it's post FA Cup. It's post FA Cup, so we'll
post it. All right, okay. All right.
Score prediction. What we beat them 1-0, didn't we? At ours. I was there for it.
1-0 at ours, 3-0 away to them.
If it makes you feel any better for the for the ones that have superstitions.
Yep.
I've been to 3 games this season.
Tell me.
I've been to Brighton, 7-0 win. Been to the City 1-0 win. And I've been to the Man United win.
Ooh.
Could it be a fourth? I hope so. I think I'll take 1-0. I think that will probably have to be for us to get a result, something, keep them close and smack them up on the counter-attacks. I think anything else than that, I think City might absolutely annihilate us if Kevin De Bruyne fancies it on the day, because once he starts running the show in recent games, it's game over. So I'll go with 1-0. What about yourself?
I think it'll be Nottingham Forest on penalties.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
couldn't do it.
I need a new pair of pants after that.
I'd have to leave, I think. I don't think I could watch that.
Bro.
The playoff semi-final penalties were enough for me. I don't think I've mentally recovered since then.
I've never mentally recovered from seeing how high your heart rate was.
Yeah, it was. It was like 160, wasn't it?
You're about 3 more penalties away from keeling over.
Yeah, I was pronounced dead on the seat. It was crazy. My heart rate was literally like 160. I've never been that high. I mean, that's one way to win it. I'll take it.
I'll take a penalty. I'd love a penalty shootout.
But I just think I'd be interested in what other people think as well. Do you see it as a free hit? Is there any such thing as a free hit?
Definitely a free hit.
Winning breeds confidence. I understand that. But for me, the most important game is the next one against Brentford, the league games. But with that comes my question, Jacob.
Go on.
We were third. We're now fourth. City with a game in hand. Obviously, one more win takes us back to third. There's 5 games to go. How confident are you of Forest getting Champions League at this point, given Newcastle and Villa have been flying? City seem to have found their feet a bit. Chelsea beat Fulham. They're still in the mix. How confident are you that we are going to achieve Champions League football?
Well, excellent question, Joshua. Excellent question. If I'm looking at our last 5 fixtures in the league, so we've got Brentford at home, Palace away, Leicester at home, West Ham away, Chelsea at home. I'm going 3 points against Brentford, 1 point at Palace, 3 points at Leicester, 1 point at West Ham, and 1 point at Chelsea. So I'm saying we should get another 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 points. Another 9 points, and that would put us on 69 points.
I think 66 is the statistical, I know it falters either way, but I think it's typically 66. So I think 9 points certainly does it for us.
Yeah. I am 66% certain we'll get Champions League. What about you, JJ?
That's a great number. I think, I really, out of the fixtures we've got left, I think Brentford worries me the most because they're just one of those annoying sides. Palace, I think we could get a point, if not better. I think we beat Leicester. I think we beat West Ham. And so that would put us on 7 points, which I do think would be enough as it is. Possibly, I really hope it's wrapped up ahead of the last day, particularly because I'm at a festival on that day, so I can't watch it, which would be horrific because I'll have no signal. So that would be horrible. But should we need to go to Chelsea, should Chelsea need to come to us and we need to get something on that day, there's not many other teams in the UK that I'd back to perform on a day in May at home against a team like Chelsea who are up and down. They're Nottingham Forest. The crowd have been the extra person this year. They always have been in recent years, but certainly this season. So I think if we needed to get something from Chelsea, we can. I think we can beat them at home. But I think the 7 points prior to that I've outlined, I think does it for us. And if we manage to beat Brentford and it starts 3 points earlier, then even better. But should it go to last season, it would be nervy for me because I won't be able to actually find out what's happened. But I just think we're built for these games at the City Ground. Look at the Arsenal game, the other year where we stayed up. No one expected that.
What a day that was.
It's in our blood recently. We perform when we need to. So makes it exciting, but I don't want it to go to that. But in terms of hopeful, I think I'm pretty confident. I think 60% there or thereabouts is about right for me. Obviously, other teams are in fine form, but Villa have just lost, which puts them at a bit of arm's length. Newcastle have just been smashed by Villa, keeps them at arm's length. City are capable of not performing, even though they have done all right recently. So, and I just don't really believe Chelsea will be in the mix come the end of it. I think they're nailed on for 7th myself. But yeah, I think it's really hard I think I mentioned it earlier, but the balance of trying to be hopeful for it, really want it, but if it doesn't happen and we get any form of European competition, or even not, just trying to remind yourself that it's been a ridiculous season either way is a really tough balance. But also, at this point, I think we should probably be annoyed should we not get anything, because your expectations shift with where you are, isn't it? It's dynamic. So regardless, it's been an incredible season. And if we get Champions League, good God, well, your baby will be called Nuno Espirito Santo, I guess, regardless of gender.
Espirito State.
Oh yeah, I suppose it would have to have your last name.
Excellent, wonderful. So 60% JJ. One more question before we go. Should Nottingham Forest win in the FA Cup semi-final on Sunday against Manchester City, who will they play in the final?
I can't see past Villa at the minute. I know they've just lost. Palace are a good side, but I just think Villa are on fire, and I think Villa are probably my overall prediction for winning the entire thing. I'll be honest.
I think it would Palace.
I'd love to see I think a Villa Forest final would be great. It's two huge sleeping giants, chance of silverware. It would be a massive game. Should Forest go through, but Palace Forest feels even better. Two teams that really deserve something. I think Palace have been run really well. I think anyone but City really at this point, because they just have won so much in the last years. Give someone else a bloody go. But yeah, Villa or Palace is tasty. I think either one of them could do it on the day. I'd prefer Palace. I would, but I do think Villa will take the lot.
I think Palace. I would love a Villa, for obvious reasons, Forest, but I'd love a Villa Forest final. No big six, no crafty cockneys. It'd be wonderful.
Yeah, like I say, sleeping giants. They've both won European Cups, not won European Cups for a long time. I think it would be a great story. It really would.
Yeah. Yes, it would. Well, if you've stuck with us right to the very end, God bless you for sticking around. If you're listening for the first time, I'd love to know how you found us. Please let us know. If you've come back again and again and again and again and again with a long pause in between, and then again and again and again and again and again, another long pause and again and again and again.
We're back though. We're back.
We're back.
Back for the run-in. Don't you worry about that.
Back for the run-in. We may even do a match day vlog on Sunday, JJ.
If you're lucky.
Phone battery dependent.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. Oof. JJ. HEATS.